Hello, welcome to yoga class today. Today's class is yoga for seniors. Now, you don't have to be a senior to do this class, but just know that this class is intended to be gentle and slow in our yoga poses and sequencing. This is so that we can address many of the specific challenges that we face as we start to age. So some of those things include sore joints, stress, muscle tension, flexibility, and balance. So please join me as we start our class today from a comfortable seated position. As you find comfort in your seat, know that we're going to start to work with the arms so that we can stretch the shoulders and the chest as well. So as you come into the seat, you're going to take your hands outside of your hips. As you inhale, shrug your shoulders up to your ears. Exhale, take your shoulders back and down. And again, inhale, lift the shoulders up. Exhale, take the shoulders back and down. Continue to move in this way with your movement following your breath. The next time that the shoulders come up, back, and down, just set the shoulders away from the ears. Take a full round of breath here. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, open the mouth, big sigh of relief. Continuing to work with the arms, the shoulders, and the chest. And take our hands in front. Interlace the fingers, let the palms meet. Think about positioning the wrist in line with the shoulders. Now as you inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, release, take the arms behind you. Interlace the fingers again. Press palms together. And as you inhale, lift the fist up, opening the chest. Exhale, lower down. Take it back to the front. So I'm just going to change the positioning of my body so you can see what's happening. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, release, take the arms behind, reconnect. Inhale, lift, open the heart. Exhale, lower. And again, movement following the breath. Now, what's so awesome about this, besides getting an arm, shoulder, and chest stretch, is that when you lift your hands, you can feel the shoulder blades coming together. So you're able to target this upper back area where we hold on to a lot of stress and tension. And making the intention to let it go. Now the next time you release the hands, just shake them out. Full round of breath here. As you inhale, reach the fingers out. Exhale, cross the right arm over the left, bend the elbows, see if the hands meet. Now focus on keeping the shoulders low. Just lift the elbows. Feel a nice stretch at the top of the back. In the shoulders, just hold and breathe. Now on your next exhale breath, gently lower the elbows, unwind the arms, inhale, reach the fingers back out, away from each other. Exhale, now you're going to cross the left arm over the right. Again, the hands meet, keep the shoulders low, just lift the elbows. Hold and breathe. You might even close your eyes and notice where you're feeling sensation. And on the next exhale, let the elbows lower. Inhale, reach the fingers out. Exhale, take the hands down. Full round of breath here. Inhale all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, big sigh of relief, let it go. Feels so good. We'll come back to that breathing, but for now, on your next exhale, tuck your chin towards your chest. Just pause here with your chin towards your chest. Feel a stretch at the back of the neck, maybe even going into the upper back, shoulder area. Now you can stay here with your chin towards your chest if you feel like you're getting a nice benefit of a stretch here. Or as you inhale, you can take one ear above the same side shoulder, and then as you exhale, you can take your ear over to the other side. So we're inhaling to one side, exhaling to the other. So we're just making half circles. And as we make our half circles, we might notice if one side of the neck feels tighter than the other. If this is the case, then you can pause there, breathe into it a little longer, taking your time to let the congestion go from the neck space, and then moving on when you're ready. Maybe you take a longer hold on the other side. We'll start to even out the sides. And coming back to dropping the chin towards the chest to help with neck pain and stretching the neck and shoulders. And then on the next inhale, we'll just lift the chin, gaze forward, and take a moment with our breath work. So you might let your palms rest on your thighs. As you feel your seat grounded down, think about the crown of the head rising up towards the sky, straight spine, axial extension. Take an inhale all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, open the mouth, big sigh of relief. And again, deep inhalation. Exhale, release, let go. And again. Really just letting ourselves get centered with the breath. Using this breath anytime we need to calm the nervous system and downregulate. Inviting peace within as we sit in stillness. One more time, inhale to the top of the breath. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. Now, flutter the eyes open, come back into the space. On your next inhale, reach the fingertips up towards the sky. Now, as you exhale, go ahead and lower one hand down. Make sure your hand is in line with your hip. Then reach your top fingers up. Now, as you exhale, lean over to your grounded hand. You might notice if you want to come onto your forearm, if that's available. But however far you're reaching, just make sure you're not collapsing. So if your arm is coming forward, position your bicep above your ear, reach through the fingertips, and feel a really nice stretch in the side body, lateral flexion. Next inhale, sweep the fingers up. Exhale, now opposite arm grounds down. Inhale, reach the top fingers up. And then on your next exhale, start to lean over. So that grounded hand might walk a little further away from the hip, reaching through the fingers, now feeling a stretch in the opposite side body, lateral flexion for the spine. Now you might have noticed if one side feels different than the other, so we're gonna take one more on each side. Inhale, reach the fingers up. Exhale, set it up to come into the other side. All we need to do is hold and breathe. Inhale, fingertips rise up. Other side, one more time. It feels so good to get into the side body. I was reading somewhere that this is believed to be the part of the human body that we stretch the least. So always just giving ourselves an opportunity to get in there. Inhale, arms rise up. Now, as you exhale, take the hands down. We're gonna switch the positioning of the legs. So we'll extend the legs so that now the legs are straight. Now, as you do this, because you change the positioning of your body, you might take your right hand to your right glute, pull the flesh back, and then do that on the left side. So that's gonna help us feel a little more rooted down and grounded in our sits bones. Now, with the legs together, the feet meet, maybe the thighs and the calf muscles touch, maybe not. This just depends on your body. As you inhale, reach the fingers up. Now, as you exhale, hinge at the hips. We'll start to fold forward. Now, don't worry about reaching, grabbing, or pulling. Just let the arms rest. Make sure that your calf muscles and your hamstrings are connected to the mat. If they're popping up, then you're probably reaching a little too far. And now on each exhale, fold a little deeper. Seated forward fold, also known as Paschimottanasana. Now check in. Notice if you're holding your head up. If so, relax the head, relax the neck. Think about your forehead coming towards your knees. Notice that you're getting a really nice deep stretch in the back of the body. Feeling this in the hamstrings and the back space. Now inviting in flexion for the spine. With each exhale, practice folding a little deeper if that's available. If you find that it's difficult to fold forward and your back wants to lean back past the hips, then you can sit up against a wall. That'll be supportive and helpful. Let's take one more full round of breath here. Inhale, lift the head up. Slowly come back to that straight spine, axial extension. And from here, we're going to switch up the positioning of the legs. So we're going to transition from a seated station of the body to kneeling. So we'll just take the feet over to one side. As we do this, we'll bring the hands forward. Now, as we bring the hands forward, we'll start off in a neutral tabletop position with the wrist in line with the shoulders, the knees in line with the hips. From here, as you inhale, let your belly lower towards the mat, extension for the spine. Exhale, lift the back, flexion. Continue to move with the breath. And each time you round the spine on the exhale, think about creating space between the shoulder blades. It's really important in this movement of cat-cow to keep the arms as straight as possible. Thinking about pressing the shins and the tops of the feet to the mat for stability. And we'll just take one more. Making our way to a neutral tabletop position. Now, from there, we're going to reach our hands one hand placement forward. This is going to give us a little more space. Then we'll bend the elbows, gently lower chest and chin to the mat, and then bring the belly and the thighs to the mat. Now, look to where your hands are. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press the tops of your feet to the mat. And as you inhale, lift your head, lift your chest, gaze forward. Exhale, lower down. You can bring your forehead to the mat, taking a full round of breath here. Exhale, let it go. Now slide your hands lower towards the ribs. Inhale, lift the forehead, lift the chest. You might even start to peel the belly if that feels okay. Or you can stay a little lower, keeping the belly connected. And then as you exhale, lower down. Forehead meets the mat, or you can stack one hand on top of the other, making a pillow for your forehead. From here, we'll lift the feet. Just rock the feet to the left, to the right, from side to side, just releasing any tension from the low back area. And then we'll bring our feet to center, lower them down. Lift your head so you can take your hands back underneath your shoulders. Now use your energy to push the mat away, straighten the arms, lift the hips. Open the knees the width of the mat, bring the big toes together. Send your hips towards your heels. Lower your forehead to the mat. It's child's pose. Now in this variation of child's pose, we've got the knees wide for some gentle hip opening. If you find that it's uncomfortable to try and get your forehead down to the mat, you can position a block underneath your forehead so that you're bringing the floor up to you. You might not need that. Alternatively, if you can't get your hips down to your heels, you might position a pillow or a blanket there to close that gap. However you need to set yourself up, find yourself there, and enjoy a few more rounds of breath. Child's pose. Just like our breath work, we can come into this posture anytime we need to calm our nervous system, downregulate. Just finding that peace within and taking a time out. Now from here, we'll lift the hips and start to bring the hips forward. So we're working back to that neutral tabletop. We want to bring the knees in. So they were wide. We want to bring them underneath the hips. From that tabletop, we'll walk the hands forward, one hand placement again. Now transitioning off of our knees onto downward facing dog. So toes. This is Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lift the hips, send the hips way up high, and then press them back. Now, think about sending your chest towards your thighs. Think about positioning your ears between your biceps. Fingers are spread wide. If the hamstrings are really tight, you can bend your knees. Or you can bend one knee as the opposite leg straightens. I find that's a really nice stretch, going up the leg into the hip. So just take whatever option you need in downward facing dog. This is a gentle inversion. You might rock the hips from side to side. And then we'll slowly start to walk our feet towards the top of the mat. So there's no rush. Take your time. Once your feet make their way to your hands, as you inhale, graze the fingertips up towards the shins. Let the palms meet the shins. And then as you exhale, hinge at the hips, let the arms dangle, just like we did in our seated forward fold, but now from a standing position. So, few things here. We want to make sure that we release the head and the neck. So this is the point where my microphone malfunctioned. So I just wanted to do a voiceover on the rest of what we're doing. And what I'm explaining here is that you can bend your knees if your hamstrings are tight. When you're folding forward, you want to release the head and the neck. Thinking about the crown of your head facing down towards the mat. Nice opportunity to stretch the back of the body and decompress the spine. Maybe taking the option to take your hands to opposite elbows, framing your head with your arms, getting a little more traction for the spine. And remembering to focus on your breath as you hold these longer held postures. Deepening the breath and finding expansion. Maybe bending one knee as the opposite leg stays straight. And as you do that, you can feel a nice deep stretch going up the straight leg into the hip. Maybe take that one more time on each side. And then come back to center. And from here, you'll soften the knees and slowly start to roll up. Take your time, there's no rush. Head is going to come up last to prevent you from getting dizzy. And here we make our way to our standing pose of Tadasana, mountain pose. Gaze is forward, arms are by your sides. Feet are hip distance, shoulders are relaxed. From here, we can take some shoulder rolls. As you inhale, lift the shoulders up towards the ears. And as you exhale, take the shoulders back and down. Notice the foundation at your feet. And when you're setting your feet up to hip distance, check to see that there's enough space between your feet for one more foot of yours to fit there. Now, you might use the wall as an option if you need support when balancing. If you don't, you can do this in the free space. Feet are going to be aligned with the hip points at the front of the hips, not wider than the hips. So you'll shift weight into one leg. The opposite foot lifts, the knee bends, and then you'll connect your hand to your foot. As you make this connection, you'll feel a quad stretch. Here I'm turning the angle of my body so that you can see that you want to keep your knees in line with each other. You don't want one going forward or back. You just want to keep the knees in line. You can come up to the wall space if that feels more supportive to you. This is your choice. It'll depend on how your body feels. And then once you've had enough, you can let go. You can also incorporate a strap if you're having trouble connecting your hand to your foot. So if you don't have a yoga strap, don't worry. You can use a scarf, a belt, a rolled up towel. You just want to find something that's going to help you make that connection without reaching, grabbing, or pulling. So if you have a yoga strap, it's helpful because there's a loop where you can fit your foot into. That way you can just lower the strap and not have to bend over too much. And once you have your foot in the strap, then you'll bend your knee. Remember, you want to bring the knees in line with each other. And simply notice how much you want to pull your foot towards the body. You might lower your hand on the strap. So just finding that perfect reach for how your body feels. Remember, you want to feel sensation at the quad. Option to have the wall support or not. And find your breath. And as you come out, you can come back onto the mat. Get grounded in your feet and then open the feet wider. So now the feet are going to go wider than hip distance. Check in with yourself, see what your level of comfort is here. If you feel like the legs are going to split apart, then maybe you shorten the distance. As you come into the pose, you'll know if you need to widen. So we're setting up to come into a standing posture. We're taking one side at a time. So we'll be paying attention to our alignment and our foot placement. I'll demonstrate how to do this in the free space and how to do this at the wall. So this posture is triangle Trikonasana. So you want to rotate the toes of your left foot to the short end of the mat. The right foot is going to stay at 90. Both legs are straight. You can use the support of the block, bringing the block to the inside of the ankle. As you're setting up, you'll lift your arms like you would in Warrior Two, reaching your fingers in opposite directions. From here, you'll reach the left fingers forward, and then you'll rotate the arms, bringing that left hand down to the block, and then reaching the right fingers up. So for your alignment, you want to think about sending the shoulder and the hip back. If you're practicing up against a wall space, you'll be able to feel this better. So you don't want to sink forward. You want to open your heart. You might even gaze up to your fingers. If that hurts your neck, you can look down to the mat. If your balance feels wobbly or off, or you're not really sure how to align yourself, then that's when you can practice this at the wall. So as you make your way over to the wall, you'll set your legs up as you did on the mat. Make sure that you have enough wall space to try this. You want to think about keeping your hips and your back up against a wall. So as you lower that left hand, you're going to think about that right shoulder and the right hip pressing up against the wall. Now, because I have that A-line ceiling, I can't extend my right arm, but you can see that I'm demonstrating the right shoulder and the right hip pressing up to the wall. So option for the wall assist or option to come into the free space. Now, as you prepare to come out, lifting the arms on an inhale breath, exhale, lower the hands down. Now you're going to rotate the left toes in the same direction as the right toes. So all 10 toes are facing the same direction. You want to check down to your feet, make sure the feet are in the same lane. And then if you're working with the block, you're going to want to lift the block because now you're going to take it over to the other side. So same posture, triangle pose, Trikonasana, now facing the other direction. So the right toes are going to face the opposite end of the short end of the mat. The left foot is going to stay at 90, so the pinky side of the foot is going to be lined up with the other short end of the mat, positioning the block to the inside of the ankle if you're using the block. And then fly the arms. Now you'll reach the right fingers forward and then rotate the arms. Coming into our triangle pose. Thinking about that alignment. Now thinking about sending the left shoulder and the left hip back as if you're pressing yourself up against a wall. Top fingers are reaching up towards the sky. Option to gaze up or option to look down. Noticing your breath and taking time to lengthen the breath. Check and notice how this feels for your body. Know that it's almost time to come out. Inhale, arms rise up. Exhale, lower the hands down. And then rotate all 10 toes, same direction. Now you'll heel toe the feet closer together. As we transition, just noticing any props that are in your space and just scooting them out of the way so that you're freeing up that mat space to continue on with your practice. So now transitioning from standing postures to grounding. Inhale, arms rise up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Now from here, you can lower down by bending the knees and taking the shins back, or for a different option from standing position, you can come onto your tippy toes, lift the heels, reach the arms forward. Now you want to sit back, and as you sit back, you want to squeeze the thighs together. Allow yourself to lower down slowly, taking your time, and then coming on to your seat. As you come into your seat, you're going to set yourself up for Baddha Konasana. So the knees are bent and splayed out, soles of the feet meet. Depending on how your knees feel and how tight your hips are, you might send the feet forward to open up the angle at the knees, or you might bring the heels closer to the body if the hips are more open. You might be somewhere in between, so just check and see what feels good to you. Thumbs can be at the arches of the feet, or you can wrap your fingers around your toes. On the inhale breath, lift the crown of the head up, and as you exhale, fold forward. Think about bringing your belly button towards your feet rather than your head. Know that if you feel discomfort at any point, you can always modify. So finding that place of feeling a sensation, but not to the point of feeling pain or major discomfort. Preparing to come out. Just noticing your breath. We'll rise up on the inhale breath, lifting the crown of the head up. Finding that straight spine, taking your hands to the outside of the thighs and guiding the knees towards each other. Soles of the feet meet the mat. Notice where you are on your mat. So you might need to scoot forward so that you have space to lower yourself down. So you want to connect your tailbone, your back, your shoulders, and your head to the mat. And once you feel that connection, check in on your breath. Then lift your feet. So you're positioning your knees above your hips. Open the arms out to the sides, positioning the wrists in line with the shoulders. Take a deep inhale breath with the knees at center. And as you exhale, take both knees over to the left, spinal twisting. Keep that right shoulder down. Inhale, lift the knees back up to center. Exhale, take the knees over to the right. Keep the left shoulder down. Each time you inhale, lift the knees to center. Each time you exhale, take the knees opposite direction. Spinal twisting is awesome for detoxification. You always want to start bringing the knees over to the left to aid in digestion with the descending colon. Just even out the sides. And once you've evened out the sides, you'll bring the knees back to center. Moving on, taking your hands to your shins and drawing circles with your big toes for ankle mobility. And then switching it up, circling around opposite direction. Now taking the knees wide, hands stay on the shins, knees come towards each other and then away. And then switch it up opposite direction. Now feeling into the hips. Knees come together. And keeping the knees together, draw clockwise circles, feel a massage on the low back and the hips. And then circle around opposite direction. From here, release the legs, let the feet meet the mat. Arms resting by your sides. Legs can extend, creating space between the feet and the legs. Just rocking the feet in and out, feeling the movement all the way up the legs into the hips, just releasing any tension. Allowing ourselves to ground down. Allowing ourselves to come into some time of integration. In this time, we can take the option of bending the knees and taking the feet wide. Drawing the knees in towards each other. This is going to feel good for your low back if you've got some issues there. Arms can rest by your sides, or you can take your hands to your belly, connecting with your breath. As you inhale, feel the belly rise. And as you exhale, feel the belly soften. And this time you might notice if you can lengthen the breath using more of your lung capacity. And in this time, just notice how you feel now at the end of your practice. Know that this time is all about being rather than doing. Taking this time of integration and stillness at the end of your practice is a really great way to round out your sequence, your class, your experience. Gives you an opportunity to observe how your physical body feels. Also noticing what's going on with your heart, your soul. Just relax. Know that when you come into this posture of stillness, you can decide how long you want to be here. You can stay longer if you'd like, or you can start to transition out by rolling over onto one side in your own time and eventually making your way onto your seat if you're ready to close your practice. As you come into your comfortable seat, if you're taking that option, just feel your seat grounded down. Feel the crown of your head rising up. Notice your breath, the sensations in your body, the receiving of this experience that you just had. Inhale, arms rise up. Exhale, bring the thumbs down the midline, connecting the thumbs to the heart center. Feeling the energy at the heart space, this big, beautiful heart of yours. Offer yourself gratitude in this moment for taking this time for yourself, for self-care. Thank you so much for tuning in to this class. It's my honor to guide you in this beautiful practice. Namaste.